it's what they're taking action on your ad. So they could be going to your profile to check you out. If you haven't posted in 3 months, that's usually a red flags for a lot of prospects when going through your funnel. So that's another thing that you can look for in terms of that click-through rate. I would say those are pretty much the big four before they hit your website, but click-through rate is really just the ad getting to the website.
Right.
So I would say those first three are definitely important, and that fourth one's kind of just the added bonus that if you are staying up to date on your page, that's definitely going to help your click-through rate there.
I love the breakdown of that because I keep saying all the time is it really doesn't matter what your opinion or your preference is. It really matters what the market tells you. And I think that obviously it's your brand, so you get to represent yourself the way you want. But if the market is responding and saying, this is what we like, these are the people that really feel aligned with you, that's your bread and butter. That's your core. And I think sometimes clients can get so caught up in, well, I really like this. I think this is going to do really well. This is a more fun look or fun brand or fun ad, I guess we'll say. And that's not the one that performs. And I can think of many conversations like that where I think it was on one campaign, the ads that didn't even have any photos at all, even though that's completely contrary to what we're told in marketing, right?
Yeah, I can't tell you the amount of times that we started a campaign, our creative team has designed these amazing ads. And I'm just like, oh, these three are going to do
Right.
great. There's no way this is going to be a great campaign. A month later, you're looking at it and you're like, what happened? And you see this one little ad that you didn't really think about that you just threw in there to keep testing things. And that's the one that blows up somehow. I've seen it over and over again,
Yeah.
and it's insane, but it's right. It's always that struggle, even as marketers, of I really like the look of this, but this is what's actually working.
Right.
And that's always the give and take of any marketing strategy,
Yeah.
is figuring out really the in between of what you like and how you want to be represented with what the market is liking and is actually gaining the traction that you're looking for.
It's the defining piece that we're really trying at Beacon to own, which is that we're a company that will look at form and function. And many agencies or many marketers kind of stake themselves in one. They stake themselves in I want to have the most beautiful look and feel and like the best award winning design, or they'll stake themselves in only data and really not pay attention to design. And we're trying to do both, which I know is difficult. I think the answer is exactly what you said, which is that we continue to listen. It's all about what the consumers are saying. And that's what our clients ultimately care about is so they're going to get results. So, I really like the way that you put that for sure. I've got two more questions. I think this is great for folks that are doing more DIY or trying to figure it out themselves. What is a relevance score on Facebook or Meta? I mean, does that matter? Like, what does that mean? Because I think it can be scary for people if they're like, oh my gosh, my ad's not relevant.
So relevance score, that is, if we're talking in the grand span of meta ads, that's a newer feature that they're starting to push.
Okay.
And essentially all it means is Meta's machine learning AI goes through your ad, the copy, headline, creative, and then goes to where you're sending that traffic to, so your website or landing page.
Right.
And all it says is essentially how relevant are those two together? Are you promoting one thing on your ad, but then you go to the landing page and you're promoting something else, or there's no language of this promotion whatsoever on your website? So that's really what it's looking at. That has come out and said they don't necessarily take down ads or prevent your ads from being shown. Now, from a consistency standpoint, you always want to be as consistent as you can in your marketing strategy. So even though Meta may say we don't keep your ads from being shown if you have a low relevance score, the chances are, though, the algorithm, because of how people are interacting with that ad,
Yeah.
is going to naturally make it harder for you to show, just because if I look at your ad and it's great and I go to your website and the branding's all off or the messaging's all off, well, then I'm going to immediately click away. And that's what the algorithm on Meta is really looking for.
And that makes sense because from Meta standpoint, they want you to keep advertising you're not going to keep advertising if you're not getting results. So if people are clicking to your page and they're like, that's not even what I was looking for. And we've all experienced that, right? Or you click on this website, you're like, is this even legit? So like that makes sense to me. So it's just one more marker is what you're saying to basically check is where you're sending people is good, or is it relevant to then the ad itself? Do they match? Are they consistent? Right? Okay. So
Exactly.
what do you think about the forms? I mean, there's been a lot of debate about that. Do you send people to your website, or do you keep them on Meta and fill out a form? Is that more of a like you have to test it for your market? What do you recommend there?
So I think there are certain industries that do great with just instant forms, is what they're called when you keep them on Meta.
Okay.
There's also other industries like we're largely in mental health. You have to build a lot of trust for someone to take that action and be a quality lead for our clients.
Right.
So usually we're sending people to a website because it takes a little bit more, where something like a gym, you don't need quite as much trust for someone to be a
Is
qualified
kind of like,
lead.
yeah. So if you knew the brand, like let's
Exactly.
say it was a 24-hour fitness or brand you've heard of, so you have that trust of the brand and then they have a great offer that's right there, that could be a great one, right? That would make sense for that. Okay.
Exactly. And I'd also like to follow that up with you need to make sure you have the right infrastructure on the back end in place as well.
Okay.
Because for those instant forms, because they're so easy to fill out, most of the time your information is auto-populated. You need to make sure you have the team ready to call, ready to dial, ready to follow up, whether it's email, text, whatever the case may be. Because just as easy as it was for them to fill out that form, it's just as easy to fill out your other four competitors as well. So that's where like that infrastructure is extremely important, especially when you go that route, because of how easy it is that you have to make sure you're on top of it in terms of
Right.
that
If you're
follow up.
not like texting the person back immediately, if you're not getting super fast return, they're just moving on. Yeah,
Yep.
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, where somebody that takes the time to fill out a full web form, like they have more deep questions, any of that, they're more committed. They've already committed more just by doing that. I
Exactly.
have filled out forms before and I don't even remember the company. And they're like, no, you filled this out. I'm like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember that. But so if it's 2 days later, it's too far gone, right?
Yeah, especially with our attention spans nowadays.
Yeah.
Like the average, it's definitely dropped over the past 10 years. Yeah, a form filled out today is usually forgotten by tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a good message. If you're not going to get back immediately, just that's not the route. Final question. So somebody that, let's say they're working with the agency like us or they're a freelancer, they have somebody they're partnering with that's helping them on meta ads. Are there any like questions or what can they bring to the table, I guess, as a client to help their campaigns be more successful? Like, what are the pieces, even if they're not doing the meta ads themselves, what are the things that you see that make a difference when a client is participating, how they participate? What do you see makes a difference in success?
Yeah, that is a really great question. There's a couple of different components to it. So I'll start with kind of the creative and the ads themselves. If you have any local imagery, videos, something that can stand outside of just generic stock images that anyone can have access to, it's like people just know. They just look at it and they just, I
Yeah,
mean, we've probably all seen it. You just know. You look at it, oh, that looks like it's really them, or it's really their office,
right,
or it's really,
right.
an image with their like it's just a feeling that we get that honestly I don't think anyone's really been able to explain. So I think anything local that you can provide from a creative standpoint is just going to boost your marketing campaign tenfold, just because people have that sense of what's natural and what's stock.
Yeah,
I think from a communication standpoint, the biggest thing is just be open and honest with your agency. Track everything that's coming in, whether it's a lead, a phone call, someone walking in the door. Track where they're coming from. Ask those questions. Did you hear about us, through Google, through Meta? If you have a software or a CRM in the back that can do that for you, that's even better. But have that information ready and be able to provide that, because at the end of the day, we can only go as far as the leads going to you, whether that's a phone call, form fill, whatever the case may be, that's really where the service ends. We have been able to funnel these leads to you. Now we're relying on you to tell us what is actually converting or not. If you get 100 leads and only one is converted, well, most of the time that means something needs to change in what we're doing.
Right.
So I think just making sure we're tracking that and making sure you have that information. And then again, just being honest with your marketing agency. I mean, it's nothing personal. You brought in 50 leads, not one of them converted. Something needs to change. Here's the reasons why they're not converting, whether it's they're not picking up the phone when we call back, whether, I know a big one for us is not the right insurance. For a lot of people, the issue is availability. You may not be able to book that person in the time that they want. So having all of that ready and available, that's going to be huge for your agency and their strategy.
Yeah, I think that's really helpful. The only thing I would really add to that, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, in that here we have these incredibly powerful tools that really do tell us so much about the market, right? It's more than just about getting new clients. You are getting all this information about what people are interested in. And so I would add to your list being curious. As a business owner, if you are doing advertising, of course, like, you don't have time to think about it all the time and worry about it, and you don't want to spend your time doing that. I get that. But to me, there's a curiosity piece that if you're really paying attention to, well, why are people responding this way? Or maybe I'm getting the response that I'm getting all these people that are really interested, but it's a slightly different service than what I've normally been offering. Or maybe if I tweaked even what I'm offering slightly to this. There's been a few clients that we've had recently even that have, okay, well, I was wanting to go private pay, but 90% of the people are insurance. And so she's working through a company called Thrizer that does the billing for her now, which has greatly increased her leads. So to me, it's a relationship, right? It's a give take of you're getting information, we're getting information. Let's get the best information so that your business can thrive. And it's not always trying to make them fit into your funnel. It's also listening to what they're saying so that you can adjust. And that's the one thing I would add.
Yeah, 100%. There's a saying that the customer is always right. I'm not going to say it's that
Right.
far, but
Close.
you definitely have to listen. You have to listen to what they're saying, and especially in terms of a service you may think is great,
Right.
but the market may not just be something they're looking for right now.
Yeah.
You see that a lot with product-based companies.
Right.
They have these amazing products and they think it's great and they think it's revolutionary, and then the market's like, well, we don't have a use for that.
Right.
Right.
We would
And so
have
you
to
always
use
have
this
to,
over here, right? It's kind of like our
exactly.
ads. It's the one that we think that isn't necessarily going to perform super well. I just think that openness in business to like getting new information, if you start seeing your marketing as a funnel to you of information, as well as a funnel to bring in new clients, it can be worth so much more than even just new clients. Now you're getting like new business ideas. You're getting input from people that maybe you wouldn't have talked to before. So that's what I believe more in the future. That's what I'm hoping more, even as we get more AI tools that will be able to expand our data, that really it will actually allow businesses to be better, like to serve the client's needs better. So there's not that mismatch. Well, awesome information. You gave really good detail. I'm really excited for this podcast now. I think it's going to answer a lot of questions, that our clients have and folks that have been listening. So thank you for your time. And thanks everybody for joining us on the Beacon Way today.
Thanks for listening to this episode of The Beacon Way. We hope you enjoyed it and had some good takeaways. Please subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. And if you've enjoyed the show, please give us some stars on your podcast channel of choice. For more information, tips, and notes from the show, check us out at beaconmm.com. For more information on how Beacon can help market your business, email us at welcome@beaconmm.com.